Pocket Hill Avenue, Roxbury, Massachusetts, Aunt Rita and Uncle George's house, and the Basilica of Our Lady of Perpetual Help Church. It's the wedding of Joe and Dorothy Marsano. There's Aunt Rita coming out to get to the car. Is Robert Gully, who received his first communion that day. I think it's Robert. And here comes Miss Aunt Rita. They're stopping to pick up Sonny Brady and his mother to get to the church. Now we're at the church, and there's Robert Gully and Leo and Joe and Robert Gully. And in the background, there's Peg Layland. This is the chief and his wife who came, and Uncle Stevie walking past. And this is Grandma Lucy, Frank, and Grandma Kelly. And behind him is Grandpa Rugy. And this is Mary Snow and Marty White. And Peg and Eddie Laylawn again. And Mrs. Porter, who was Peg's mom. And there's the bride. And Rita as my maid of honor. This is prior to the ceremony, of course. And there's Grandpa Kelly, Grandma Kelly, and one of her neighbors. Didn't she look pretty with her pink hat? This is inside the church where you weren't allowed to have any lights and so forth at that time, so you just had to use what natural light was available. This was on the main altar. And here comes somebody. I think it's the maid of honor. Yes, it is. And here's the bride. And the groom. The primitivists of 1954's picture taking. Uncle George did a pretty good job, though, didn't he, considering? And this is the actual marriage ceremony.
The film's getting old, huh?
It's deteriorating more, even on tape.
A little bit of holy water there, right?
Sprinkling the wedding rings here. A blessing. And now, this is the outside of the church, at the main door. And Marie McGrath was a neighbor. It's Grandpa Dyer in the background. Uncle Joe. There's my godmother, Teresa Doyle. And there's John Dyer and his wife, and Margaret Duffy, and Aunt Rita. There's Mary. There's John Duffy, and Aunt Catherine White. There's Josephine Graney right there. And it's Aunt Nellie and Uncle Stevie. There's Grandma and Grandpa Ruggie. And there's Frank and Lucy Saxton. There's Virginia White coming out the door. And there's Dad's oldest sister. Can't think of her name. Isn't that terrible?
Amy?
My father's oldest sister.
Oh.
Marion Dyer. Marion Lamasney, actually. One of the few pictures of my dad that we have.
Is that Grandpa
No,
in the back?
no, that's Frank Chisholm, who was a friend of Uncle Joe's. My sister Mary, who received First Communion that morning. Hansie Dyer, Eddie's wife. That's Marion and her husband, Marion and Marty. It's quite a large church. And this is at the reception. Toast to the bride and groom. There's Grandpa Kelly and Grandma Kelly. Grandpa Dyer, Grandma Dyer. Frank Chisholm, who was one of the ushers. Rita Dyer, now Allegretto. The bride, Dorothy. Oops, you can't see the groom. He's behind the cake. There's Richard. There's Uncle Joe. There's Lucy Saxton. Frank Saxton. Grandma Ruggie. And Grandpa Ruggie. Pretty good to have both sets of parents and grandparents at the wedding.
Where was the reception?
And the reception.
No, where was it?
I don't remember.
Dad said, "Give me a kiss."
Yeah.
Oh.
Whoop, there they go, ringing the bells again. That's all right. We enjoyed every moment of it.
Who's that again?
Grandma Ruggie and Grandpa Ruggie. And cut the wedding cake. Now if I can just get a hold of it. There we go. Cake was good too. Oh, here we go again. Joe was 24 and I was 21. and off to the first dance. And he did love to dance. And the best man and the maid of honor. And Grandma and Grandpa Dyer, and there she disappears as he turns her around. And Grandma and Grandpa Kelly. And Frank and Lucy Saxton. And Grandpa and Grandma Rucci. And he loved to dance too. And this is the morning after, when Uncle Joe had a marvelous time at the wedding. I think he was still enjoying the wedding. Was in very good spirits, wasn't he? That's it. That's the wedding part.